After 22 years, we finally have a sequel to a cult classic movie, Freaky Friday, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. When this first came out in 2003, it was like all the rage back then, and this movie back in 2003 was just such a interesting and comedic movie, and it had that early 2000s humor. So to see that come back into play in 2025 with a lot of the same people, including some of the original cast from the original movie, it was very nostalgic to see. I did have some issues with the movie. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't phenomenal by any means. Definitely not one of the top movies of mine for 2025 so far, but it still was a good movie to see and very comedic. So let's get into it. Directed by Nisha Ganatra, I will say for a sequel coming almost 22 years later, not bad. Not bad at all. The beginning of the movie, it kind of was all over the place, and even when I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, 4 people switching bodies, that can get very messy very quickly. But overall, I think they handled it very well. We have Lindsay Lohan and Julia Butters, who respectively play Anna Coleman and Harper Coleman. Then we have Jamie Lee Curtis and Sophia Hammonds, who respectively play Tess Coleman and Lily Reyes. Finally, we have Mark Harmon returning as Ryan, and then we have Manny Jacinto, who plays Eric Reyes, obviously Lily Reyes' father, and Anna Coleman's love interest in the movie. So the basic synopsis is Anna and Eric meet each other, and they have it's kind of like a love at first sight thing like you see in romantic novels and romantic movies and comedies. Wouldn't you know it, they're both the parents of the 2 girls that have issues with each other at school, which are Lily and Harper. Throughout the movie, we go through all the hijinks and antics, and of course, Anna and Eric, they're gonna get hitched, so it turns out to be this whole battle thing between the 2 kids because they're young teenagers and they're girls, so they're gonna be catty with each other, and one of them's English and one of them's American, so that they both kind of think in their own respective right that they're better than one another, and they don't want each other around, and they want to stay in their respective places. So throughout the film, we deal with the sense of belonging, the sense of being heard and being seen and wanted, and to hear what the person really feels. This whole movie is centered around what not only trust, but communication, listening, adhering, and respect. So similar to the first film, we have a scenario where the people in question end up switching bodies, and the way that we navigate to get to that is very interesting. It's different than the first film. The first film in 2003 was very cut and dry. Mother and the daughter, they had to switch bodies so that they could live each other's lives, walk in each other's shoes, and try and understand each other better. In this one, you have 4 different people that switch bodies. 2 who have done it already, so they know how to deal with this. The other 2 are teenagers in adult bodies. I mean, that is like a teenager's dream, to be a teenager in an adult body so that they can do whatever they want but still have their youthfulness of mind and not necessarily a body, because I mean, if you're in an older person's body, I think it was funny how they incorporated that aspect of it. It wasn't just, you know, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis switching like in the previous one. It was the mother and the daughter, their grandmother and the stepdaughter slash step granddaughter slash stepsister, who also was switching bodies as well. A lot of people made their way back to this sequel from the original film, and one of them is Chad Michael Murray, who plays Jake. And going into this, I was like, there's no way they can't bring him in there. That was like her first boyfriend, and there was so much surrounding him with the mom and her, so there's no way they couldn't bring him back in. But I like what they did. At first I was kind of like, I don't know, this is gonna be a little rough. It worked. Like I said, it worked. Again, this film wasn't perfect, but the facets of it that worked really well. I will say the chemistry between everybody was phenomenal. It really helps that, you know, 22 years ago, a lot of these people worked together, and then 22 years later, they're working together again, probably thinking that they wouldn't have gotten a sequel or come back, but it was just nice to see a lot of those old cast members together. And obviously, I'm not going to tell you exactly where they'll all be, but knowing something like this, you know that they're going to bring a lot of people back. I will say there are some issues that I have with this movie. One of them would be the pacing of the film. There's times where you kind of got lost. Like my girlfriend and I were sitting there, and I could tell that she and myself, we were both kind of like, wait, who's who again? Like, I mean, it's somewhat easy to follow, but then there's these times where they start talking, and then you're like, wait a minute, hold on, I thought that was the other person. Another thing is the humor. So it seems like they were trying to incorporate that early 2000s humor that worked so very well for the first film, and like the new generation, Gen Z, X, millennial, whatever the hell you want to call it, humor into this movie. So they tried to do a blend of both. At times, it worked almost flawlessly and it was hilarious. But then there were other times where it was just kind of like shoehorned in, and some of the humor just kind of was like, yikes. It seemed like they were trying a little too hard with the humor when they should have just gone about it how they went about it, and not tried too hard with trying to be too early 2000s humor mixed with Gen Z humor. Throughout the whole film, not even just in one part, throughout the whole film, there were times where that humor, I could tell they were trying to blend both generations, and it just kind of didn't work. Another thing I will say is the... Wait, what? Another thing that I will say is sometimes the acting seemed a bit, how do I put it, just not all the way there. Not necessarily from the main cast, because honestly, all four of them really did a great job. Even though some of the humor, like I said, was a bit off, all four of them really did well. And I mean, even the young actresses, my God, they killed it. They were really, really good, especially when it got to the nitty-gritty of the film, the true nature of the film, the idea behind the film, what made the film what it was. Like when we got to that, it was like, damn, like I actually like felt something, because I mean, I have a connection with some of these characters, you know, from back in the day. My parents and I would watch this movie like it was nobody's business. When it first came out, oh my gosh, we loved it because it was just so different. And I think it's because it came out in the early 2000s, and if parents went to go see it with their kids, I think both the parents and the kids understood switching and realizing, oh my gosh, they have their own set of challenges. They have their own set of challenges. Why don't we just work through this together? And that, I feel like during that time period, it kind of brought some people a little closer. Maybe it pushed some people apart. Who knows? The theme behind that film was honestly just like, hey, look, I'm your mom. I'm your daughter. We can talk. Like, we can talk about things. We can, it's life sucks sometimes, and life is hard, and we're going to get mad at each other. You know, we're going to argue, we're going to fight, but at the end of the day, I love you more than anything, and I'm going to make it work because you are my mom and you're my daughter. And that's how it should be. That's what love does. Love perseveres, it strives, it fights. I think the theme from that first film definitely shined in this second film with their own theme as well, where it's like, it doesn't matter if you're blood family or if you're an extended family. If you are going to be part of my family, I'm going to treat you as if you are part of my family, meaning that you are welcome here. You're safe here. You can speak as you need to with respect. You can count on me. You can trust me. And I love that when they brought those themes into the end of the film, it really hit home, because it was just like, damn, okay, now that's what I'm talking about. That's the meat and potatoes. That's what we're here for. Yeah, we're here for the comedy, we're here for the silliness, we're here to see people go goo goo gaga, we're here to see all that stuff. Yeah, but like more than anything, we want to see a truly good story shine through, and we want to see something similar to what the old film was with its own new spin. And that's exactly what we got. However, albeit a little janky at times, but again, the film worked. There's so many people that were clapping at the end of the film. There were so many people cheering throughout the film, because this was just such a culturally accepted film when it first came out. It was just so edgy in a way. It was so different from a lot of different films from back in that time. So people loved it in a different way, and I loved it, as I said earlier. So going to see this movie, I was a little worried, especially seeing the trailer. The trailer looked wonky to me, man. I'm sorry. I was like, yikes, this looks like it could be bad. But I was still giving it a chance, because I love Jamie Lee Curtis and I love Lindsay Lohan, and Chad Michael Murray, I love him too. So I mean, Mark Harmon, he's amazing. So it's bringing all those people back really did help. I'm not gonna lie to you, having the older cast there really helped. Overall, it was a pretty good film. I'd see it again. I don't know if I would go back to the theater and see it again, but if it came on or if it was on streaming, I would definitely watch it again, because it was funny. Like, I had a good time with it. Thank you all for joining me for this long-winded review. It's much appreciated. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can get a notification anytime there's a new video. Thanks again for watching, guys. Until the next one.